So these are the tools that you're going to need to make your wire wrapped spiders. And these are the size of the beads and the size of the wire that you're going to need, the length of wire. So this one is 3/8, a 1/2 inch, and 1/2 inch. These ones, like this one's a little less than 1/2 inch. This one's a little more than 1/2 inch, but I figured that 40 inches of wire should be good. And this one's around 3/4. So 45 inches of wire should be good for that. And we're using a ruler, the mandrel, that's on reneestainedglassworks.com. We're using hemostat clamps, flush cutters, 20 gauge tin copper wire, needle nose pliers, and round nose pliers. And that's basically all you need. And of course, in the end, we're going to solder on these. So you'll need your soldering iron. And I'm going to be using 60/40 solder. So we'll go ahead and get started. And that's going to take about 40 inches. I might do a little less than 40. So you want to fold this in half. And then we want to get our mandrel. I like to use the 3/8 inch loop. And we're just going to go around this one time. So, and you're going to want to get your wire tight against the mandrel when you twist it. You want that twist to be nice and tight on there. And you're only going to really want to try to twist it maybe once or twice. That seems pretty loose on there. I want it to be tighter than that. We want our bead to sit nice and tight against that loop, because the loop is the body of our spider. So that's what we have. All pretty tight. Okay. And that's what we want right there. Pull both ends of the wire up along the sides of the bead. And with this type of bead, it's hard to get it along the edge, so I'm trying to make my wire as even as possible along the side. And then you're going to want to start to pull your wire through the loop. The loop is the body of your spider. And you're going to want to keep it, you know, fairly tight. You don't have to go crazy. I tend to overdo things, so I go a little bit crazy. And you're going to want to do that on each side. Okay, so now we're going to start forming our legs. I ended up losing some footage there, but you guys can see here how I'm making the legs. This has been a very challenging video to make with getting up close and getting everything into the frame. So I'm sorry I lost some of that video. But you can see here how I make the legs, and I do 4 on each side and 2 antenna. I try to make them as even as possible, and I also try to think about the size of the bead that I'm using and the length of the leg. And you're also going to want to account for the fact that the leg's going to shrink a little bit because we're going to twist them. So just something to think about, and I will put on a little bit of music and maybe speed the video up a little bit so you guys can see what is going on. So now after twisting all of our legs, we're going to go ahead and shape and bend our spider legs to make them look all lifelike. Now it's on to soldering. I did use the Old Masters Novacan liquid flux to use on the legs when soldering. I also use 6040 solder. Um, but what I wanted to say is I did solder most of the 20 gauge tin copper wire spiders that I made, but I also made some thinner 24 gauge solid copper spiders as well, and I like the way that looks when I solder it. So I do picture a couple in the end of the video here, and hopefully everything turns out so you can see it. But I also did some without solder, and I thought that they came out kind of cool too. So it's a matter of preference whether you solder it or not. Here's one of the 24 gauge solid copper wire spiders that I made. You can see how thin it is, and I like the way it looks. It looks really lifelike. And I also like it with and without solder. Again, it's a matter of preference. I just thought that I would include this so you guys could check it out. So I do patina some of these, but again, it's really just a preference of however you want your spider to look. So I really hope that you guys were able to get something out of this today. It was a very difficult video to shoot. And please don't forget to go on over to my website, reneestainedglassworks.com, to check out some of the supplies I have over there. And I hope you all have a great day. And don't forget to like and subscribe.